live. I'm Blockchain Crusader, crusading through blockchains every single day with my boy CVO. And we got a special little show going on here from now on. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're gonna be doing live charts and trading here on the show. CVO, how you doing, my man?
Doing very well, my man. Crusading over here with you, I suppose, in these treacherous trenches. Good to see everybody. Yeah, I'm excited, man. This is going to be fun. Just kind of kicking it for a few hours, especially during these time in the morning when the market's moving. And we'll see if we can capture some decent moves here.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it's one of those things, right, where charting is very important and people like to see it, but also sometimes it's good to do a little bit of live trading. People see what's going on, people see how you react to, taking the actual trade, because you can only prepare so much, but like almost anything, no matter what your plan is, when the moment of action comes, right, it's like the plan becomes dynamic. Things start changing, and you can react to different ways. You expect certain things to happen, and then it was just like that conversation we had the other day, right? It was like, hey, if Bitcoin jumps up to this value area high, or I forgot what it was, previous day high, are we still shorting that thing, right? It's like, even though that was the plan, was to short it. If you see an SFP, right, I was like, well, maybe the context is a little different, right? And like you always say, the context was different, and the short wasn't the ideal trade for that moment. So it's always fun to let the viewers see how people actually react to taking the live trade and managing that trade live all the way up to the point where they can take profits.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure. Try to get your audio coming in on the TikTok side. I don't think it is, but
you should be able to just share your desktop audio in the settings. Audio mixer. Give us a second here, guys.
First day blues.
Yeah, this is what happens when you stream to a bunch of services at the same time. Yeah, audio, primary microphone, and then the audio coming out should be just like the speakers.
Let's see here.
I can hear all when CVL talks. There's slight echo. Yeah, there was a little bit of slight echo that last minute you spoke. That investor in the house, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you seeing in here, man. This guy is the DeFi king. He knows all the DeFi projects, bro. And he's also working on Block's solution. I still have to keep an eye on that. I don't know what's going on there. I think they might have gone live soon, or they're gonna go live soon. I'm not sure.
Try say something one more time, Miguel.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Yeah, I'm getting feedback of your audio now. Is it because you don't have headphones? Is that why?
No, I got the headphone on. This is my phone. I'm just trying to listen to on the TikTok.
Oh, okay. So there's no audio feedback. It's just the phone. Okay, cool.
All right, we may have to move over to your YouTube, so I'll just close this down, and we'll have to do a little test after.
There's no audio coming through?
Yeah, still not for you. Can't figure it out on here.
What's your audio setup for the TikTok studio?
Says I got Realtek, the digital output. Ooh, Bitcoin must have just something hit something. Let's see.
Oh yeah, Bitcoin just lost his loot was breaking through the value area high of the previous week range right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's gonna go for that weekly naked point of control. I can share my screen here real quick.
Yeah,
pulled up.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, put that up. Let the people watch that for a minute. Yeah, all right. So yeah, for anybody tuning in, I'm just trying to get Miguel's audio set up. We're just gonna take 2 seconds, just watch Bitcoin melt down to that $60,800 level for a minute. All right, Miguel. So I'm in audio.
Yep.
And yeah, got the primary speaker and then pluggable. Let me see that. Not headphones, or maybe it should be headphones.
Should be headphones, I think.
All right, let's try that. Okay, let's give that a gander.
All right. Let me know. Let me see. I'll be catching up with the chat here. Referral system in place.
Chilling, baby. We're in. We're moving.
Let's get it. We got it, baby. We're getting it. First day trials. This is just the way it works when you're doing all this crazy sound audio stuff.
All right, cool.
All right, that investor says they're launching October 1st and that they're getting their referral system in place as we speak. So nice. We'll definitely stay in chat about that, see what's going on over there. Crypto Daddy, thank you for sharing out the live. Appreciate it. Everybody smashing those likes. Tap that screen. Get those likes rocking and rolling. We're going to be covering some live crypto trading here, some Bitcoin charts, some altcoin charts. So start preparing all the altcoins you guys want to see. And we're going to be looking at some of them. And we're going to potentially take a live trade here on the show as well. That is the goal, so you guys can see how a trade is managed live on the show. So
yeah, baby, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
To kick it off. So yeah, if you want to switch back to me real quick, I'll just start off with Bitcoin since we're launching it. Yeah, so we started off. We usually, we've been getting these Bart Simpson patterns, but this is more like a Batman pattern, as you can see the ears up here. And we started off the week, right? So this was Monday. Let's back it up even. So this is technically Sunday night, all the way back here, right before this little just staircase down. And the boxed area here is what I, set off to, basically target this week. We had the weekly pivot, which is the average of price from last week, which definitely was, something to be aware of. It's more so a target along the way. And but overall, I'm really looking for this region down below us, right? It's 60,300 up to about 60,800. And reason being is that we've got a weekly naked point of control there. We've got, which for anybody that's just tuning in, that's essentially it's a volume target. It's basically the highest area where, transactions took place basically between buyers and sellers. You can find these basically by taking a fixed range volume profile tool, pulling it over any, data on the chart, and you'll see this point of control coming in right here. For this as an example here, this range that, occurred here, we've left the range here. So now this point of control is considered naked at the moment until we revisit it, right? So, it's just a inefficiency in the market essentially, and basically an area that you want to build some confluence around. It's not an end all be all, but it's just something that tends to get re-hit, right? And this is just a simple example on that one right there. But yeah, so that's what this level is down here, right? That's 60,800. And once again, kind of look to this in the beginning of the week. We had that huge move last week up into about 65,000. And one other reason that I really, look to this level at the moment to see if it holds. Obviously, there's no guarantee that it does. But if we look back, this was actually the line in the sand, right? From when we took that plunge about 2 weeks ago at this point, down to like 48K. We kept kind of hitting our head on this region right here at that like 60K, 1,000. And if you were to pull a fixed range volume profile, right, just basically pull it over the entire range that we've been trading in, you can see here that this is actually, I'll go ahead and highlight this for you, right? So this is where we actually broke back in now, right? So we broke into the range, got a little back test here, and you shot up here. So another little bit of confluence down here. We got a little daily level as well. But overall, looking to essentially just kind of come back, retest this one last, not one last time, but again, as support. And that's where, if you miss this little move up here, this is an area where I'd be looking to at least for, potential next maybe swing move on Bitcoin. Altcoin positions at that point as well. And as long as we're living in this range, right, we should be looking and anticipating to actually rotate this range back towards the high, back to 70K. So on a high level, that's kind of where, this region kind of comes in at. And then, like I said, a little more locally, we were looking at some things like the weekly pivot, which is like last week's average of price, which is just an area that, short term is something you want to kind of be aware of. It definitely have a high hit rate to come back to that during this week. And then just been a slow bleed all the way down, basically, right? So Crusader and I were kind of talking before this stream, like we were like looking at like a short-term trade, right? This is an area where I'll be looking to buy, right? To potentially take a long from, maybe take a look at some of the altcoins when the Bitcoin price comes into this region, especially because at the beginning of the week, when looking at this is like a 7% drop. So if we see a 7% drop in Bitcoin, or if you're anticipating that, you got to imagine that you're going to see double that in the altcoins, right? So I think we've already seen a lot of that. Like Solana's one that already or not Solana, but we saw a couple others like CHR was one I was looking at earlier that fell like 11% overnight. So it's probably down like 20% overall. So it's just a time where, really targeting this region to see how Bitcoin reacts and then gauge that for the whole market as a whole. So it's kind of where that box comes into to play at the moment. I was looking to see if we'd actually get a potential short, right? Because you can't necessarily short here, even though, I'm anticipating lower, but the risk of just getting wicked out, stopped out, you're just so far away from anything relevant, and as far as like a short-term move would go.
But question
go
about
ahead.
that. So like we just broke below the value area high, right? We're currently developing a move to the below it. Couldn't we use the value area high as the entry point and then maybe the weak pivot as the stop loss to the upside for a potential drop, for a potential short down to the weekly naked point of control?
You could. I mean, this is really
that's what I would see.
Yeah,
why would you say that's not a good idea?
It's just not the best risk. Like, obviously like catching, being short from a lot higher at this point.
Can you zoom into your chart a little bit? Because it's hard to see from far away.
Yeah.
Like where we're at right now.
Yes, we're sitting at like 61.8. Now, as far as value area high, are you talking about previous week, I assume?
Yeah, the previous week value area high, we just broke below it.
All right, yeah,
we're kind of battling it right now.
Right. So Crusader's talking about this right here, which in theory, yes, it's just like I said, at this point, you run the risk of actually like bouncing from this area a little bit back to, essentially like what you just said, you have a high risk of getting stopped out on that. Like it's almost, 75% risk that you would get stopped on that versus the actual move down. Right. So, could it happen? Sure. But it's just something where for me at this point, I would just wait to get to this lower level at this stage. Right. So even though we totally could see this move, it's a decent like short-term trade for the day. But entry on this is just, it's not good. Right. You'd want to enter at least, on the back test of that weekly pivot from earlier, off the back test of daily open, the VWAPs, anything else. But, here, we really do run the risk of even kind of taking a peek at it right now. Right. Where closed in, technically, the setup you just kind of gave is definitely like a valid one, but it would be, it's not like a high, it's a little bit more high risk, right? So it's like you couldn't go with like any kind of great size or anything like that. If you just wanted to get a piece of the move, like, then of course, like that's just what it would be. But yeah, otherwise, we really do run the risk of just pushing back, especially like back towards the VWAP. But yeah, at this point, like I'm looking at least down to like 60,300 and 60,800 to see that next substantial probably bounce move from here.
So you would just wait for the long. You would wait for the bounce off the weekly naked point of control or something to long it back to the upside as a retest.
Yeah, just at this point, like I said, you're already down. We've already seen a pretty decent, and this is once again for anybody watching, this is like a short-term, outlook at the moment, right? So you're down 5%, what's, 1.5% of this move at this point, you're just kind of coming in for that last little piece of it, which you could definitely do. It's on the table. Like it's not a bad move. And that's definitely, I wouldn't long where we are now, like if you're going to pick something at this moment, like, if we had to go trade war style, I would definitely, I guess, like enter the short 100X. And hope for the best. But yeah, overall, I just like, and this is the thing too, you don't always have to be in a trade, right? Like you actually hear a lot of people say that. So this is a really good example of that. Like for me, even though this could very well and more than likely will come straight down to these areas. Like the entry for me, it's just like, you're kind of forcing it. It's not worth it for me in the short term, right? So I'll just look for the more probable area, which is down below us, or if we actually push back up, right? And probably come back into the VWAP, which is it's like a moving average, but it's more weighted on volume. So it's a volume weighted average of price. And this is actually the daily. So this is today's volume weighted. So it's very much more weighted towards like the current price action. So it gives you a little bit more of, a little bit more confluence, I'd say. But yeah, like coming back up would be the only ideal area for a short at this moment. Like, because like I said, we could very well close. What are we on? 15-minute time frame. We got a minute left. Even in this, same breath right here, right? We could very well just see this push all the way back up. And like you were saying, right? Like short in the inside of the value area high, like you said a second ago, where would your stop loss be? Probably back up above these highs, which is what? Right at the VWAP. It's a 75% chance you're just going to get stopped out.
Yeah. For sure. That's definitely the risk there. But yeah, I agree with that. I agree with waiting for the retest of the VWAP for a potential short. That was probably the best.
But yeah, what is so like I said, this was an area, and we're gonna get into some altcoins and stuff like that too, everybody. I just want to kind of give an overlay here, because if we do come down to this level on the live stream, which would be ideal, we'll take a peek at some of the other altcoins and just kind of see what kind of key levels. Actually, like, let's just jump over that real quick. So short term, I'll just say that I'm looking for, probably look to see if this bounces back up here. Ideally, the day open would be an area to kind of look for that bounce off of. Weekly pivot, I guess we could come back up to. But overall, looking to roll over here, just another percent or two down towards about 60 to 60,300 to 60,800, right? For the next overall move. And then, like I said, zooming out to just the overall range that we've been in. Let's go ahead and turn this off really quickly. That's just a straight up, break back into a range. You can see this, okay, Crusader?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just kind of covering it again for anybody just joining in on TikTok, but this is kind of the idea.
Zoom in a little bit, you can see like what those price points are. Would be nice because they're really, really small.
How about now?
Yeah, way better.
Okay, so this is the overall idea at the moment, right? And like I said, no guarantee, obviously, that Bitcoin just comes down and wicks to this level, stops, turns around. But this is where I'd look to kind of, gauge the market at if we come down to it, which at this point, I imagine we will some point this week. Doesn't have to be today, but that's definitely the overall thing. And it's just been a slow, this is just where patience just comes back into play, right? Like, you just kind of have to have your strategy in place. And just wait for the levels. And it's just kind of where it is, right? There's been a few short-term moves along the way, like yesterday. So Crusader and I, we were just kind of playing around, getting this set up for today. And, we took a pretty cheeky long off of, just like a very small time, like a scalp long, pretty much.
Sometimes
right?
you got to risk it for the biscuits, right? All you need is that 10%, baby, that 10% per day.
That was it, man. So that was actually a pretty good one, but we closed it out right at, right as soon as it basically turned around and kept dumping, right? It didn't give us much more than, what was it? What were we on, 30x even?
Yeah, we were 30x, and it was up like maybe 14, 15%.
Yeah, so half of 1%, that's all it gave us before it dumped more. So we had to be pretty aggressive on that, right? And otherwise, like I said, like in the short term scheme, it's a pretty patient game right now. Had a very exciting week last week with everything kind of pushing up, getting a small retrace right now. And in my eyes, as long as we're within that Bitcoin range, that's back above that 60,300. We should anticipate for that range to get cycled, which meaning that we'll push back up towards about 70K, meaning that the altcoins obviously will continue to see some good results as well. So Solana was one that I took the short on yesterday at the weekly open, right? So this was a decent little move. Preset the take profit right at the weekly pivot, which hit this morning while I was at the gym. And otherwise, same thing, kind of looking for getting a little bit of a bounce here. Maybe we come back up to the VWAP, maybe even come back to the weekly open. But we also had a setup, that put in the group that, making our way probably back down to like 143, which, looking at Bitcoin in the beginning of the week, potentially getting a 7% pullback. This is a, double that just about, right? 12%. Maybe we even run the range. These are the areas where I'd be looking for, that's definitely the better area to look for potentially getting into Solana, whether it's short term, long term, whatever. Better price action than we have right now, right? So, and it's still going to be one of those things where we still got to look at Bitcoin and see how that is reacting at the time. And Ethereum, just mama melter, right? Oh, you got the little one. Yeah. So
I got
Ethereum,
a little one right now, but yeah, dude, Ethereum's taking a bigger drop faster than what Bitcoin has. And Solana, dude, Solana's been in that massive range between 160 something and 126, as long as Bitcoin has been in that same range as well, like in the macro level stuff. So I've been following Solana on the macro, not so much on the micro, but that short you took yesterday on Solana was savage. And dude, Ethereum, how low is this thing gonna go before we start seeing some move to the upside?
Yeah, honestly, if we get that drop in Bitcoin, and it's not too much lower at this point. I mean, you're saying, we probably might sweep last week's low, I'd say, is an option for ETH, which we've pretty much come very close to it. So like once again, it wouldn't be a shock, or shouldn't be a shock in a sense, right? Like every week, you can kind of like outline the key levels for, basically the previous data. So, for me, I look at the previous week a lot, and this was like the setup I had. So once again, we opened up on Monday, around right here, right? So trading all the way back up at 2,700. The thing for me was, ideally it was to come up and take the high, right? That's always the most ideal area to get in, because you run the least amount of risk on your stop loss, on your entry. You can give yourself some more wiggle room up here, because otherwise, entering at these levels here, you have to put your stop loss pretty far away, right? If you were looking for just short-term stuff. And even though that's only 1.5% on a short-term, swing trade, day trade, like that's a big stop loss, right? Just 1x shorts, if you're just looking to hedge, stuff like that, obviously it wouldn't be such a big deal. And then otherwise, just anticipating the pullback in general, so that when we do get it, it's not a shock to you. This was a very technical setup, right? So once again, you had this little move to the upside. We closed here on Sunday. I was looking ideally for the sweep of the high, but overall was targeting back down to 25.78 at least. Once again, not the end all be all, but that's where we essentially have come down to. We bounced off last week's range low. Okay. And now we're waiting on Bitcoin, right, to see kind of what goes down with that. So overall, if Bitcoin rolls over a little lower, I would imagine we kind of come down and we sweep last week's low on ETH. One level I've been kind of like eyeballing for a couple of weeks here has been this 24.57 otherwise. But
ooh, baby.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I would really be paying attention to see how everything looks when Bitcoin hits. If it hits, right, that weekly pivot down there, right? So, and then like I said, right, like look at already, right, we're getting a bounce.
Dude, already getting the bounce, bro.
Right. So like, that would not have been a great short. And that's why, like people come in with late shorts all the time.
Yep.
And even though, like, yes, you could have shorted here and shorted here, we know that now, but like these are not great areas, right? Because a lot of the times you get this stuff, right? Like where people come in and they'll see this kind of wick, and maybe you got to, let's just see if this was a gold pocket retrace. It sure was, right? So right here, just as a little example, right? Most traders are probably looking at this all the way back here. You had this wick high. If you missed it, and if you were patient enough, right, you look for that gold pocket entry. So now you got that. You short, right? You got your stop loss where just above the high. And and this one came very close. It did not hit it necessarily, but usually you'll see that push back up, take everybody out, and then you'll get the move, right, to continue that. But late shorters, right? Like, so anybody that's even gotten in right here, right? Anybody coming in, over the weekend, just waiting and watching, thinking we're going to get the BART, might have even have had a stop loss down to here. Maybe people moved it down after you got a little move here, and then you just come up and get stopped out, right? So it's just that risk. And that's just more than anything is the most important thing when looking for certain things. If you're a long-term investor and if you're looking for entries, obviously these shorter term 1% and 2% moves are not a big deal. But if you want to play around in this market daily, like those are very important things that, you would have just handed away. Like I said, let's see, if we would have entered there, you're already down 0.5%. And like I said, where's your stop loss? It's going to be right above the high, right into the VWAP. Total situation where somebody's stop loss is probably the entry, right? Like that's where you want to get to. Most people don't wait when you're getting that huge drop at the time. It's exciting. It's like, oh, it's going down. I don't want to miss it. It's going to drop back to 50K, whatever. But yeah, so that's kind of, when we get to this box here, is kind of where I'm looking at to see how the other altcoins are looking at. Just checking out these few chats. Whoops.
Dude, so what about AVAX, bro? AVAX, have you charted AVAX at all? Because AVAX had a massive pullback from its highs of 50. It came all the way down to about $17 on August 5th when that big drop happened. And since then, it's been above $25, give or take. Where do you see AVAX going?
Yeah, so everything is kind of hinged, and let me know if this is too small. I'm just kind of showcase like the overall range I was looking at. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So, Yeah, we had a really large range, right, that was put in place like for like 2 years, and a lot of altcoins have the same thing, right? And we saw very similar. Um, we saw some really aggressive breakouts out of things like Chainlink. What was another one? Theta. A couple others that really got, and I'm sure there's many others really, but like there's been so many alts that were just kind of beaten down for so long, right? From basically the 22 lows, and we got this breakout back here, and this is just another really good example of just even though this was on its way up, most people are probably holding Avalanche from much higher. But B, if you were looking to out of nowhere, like aggressively get in Avalanche, maybe they had some news launch here, whatever the case is, like it's just never a great idea to chase these big rallies because you generally just get at least a gold pocket retrace. But overall, we kind of came back. And once again, when talking about those point of controls, right, we had the range point of control right there. We had not back tested it. Okay. So that was considered a naked point of control. So once again, an inefficiency in the market, a high volume target, a key level, right? This is something that you'd want to see, when price action comes down to that, that's a really key level. It's not necessarily always the best place to buy something. But knowing that something like that existed down here, let's just see where like a local, not even local, just an overall, I mean, that's a pretty big Fibonacci retracement. But when we came down to this region, it was definitely a key level, right? We got back in the range. However, at that point I was looking, potentially for a drop lower. This was once again weeks ago when we were looking at Bitcoin, maybe coming down a little bit lower, but you had to realize that we came down to a key point, be willing to put on some risk, or obviously if you're holding, selling at that much of a loss at that point, it's just up to you, right? Like it's never it's not never, but most of the time it's not the best idea. But to answer your question on where we could be going, right? We got the launch out of here, hit the key level. We're back outside of this range. Me personally, I'm targeting back up to like $98, right? It's kind of been my, one of my bigger targets here near term. I know that's maybe not as sexy as many want to hear as far as like, where could it go in total, but this is definitely an area where like the next major target for me would be, on the way back up towards that like $98 and 76 as well. Would it be worth selling and buying back? So Ninja, I'm not necessarily sure which one you're talking about. If it's like that question looks a little bit like it was older. So I mean, if you're talking like Bitcoin, or anything really. I mean, I'm only looking for at the moment at least like a very short-term pullback. So at this point, probably not, unless you have like a trade going on or something, but like a very short term, like day trade, swing trade, like you're trying to catch this move here. But like I said, this is not an area where I'd be entering, right? It's just like not the most ideal area. And then this box down below where I'm looking for the next major support is only like 2.5%, 3% away. So for anybody that's like longing up here and they're probably getting crushed on a long, right? So a late long basically. That's probably not ideal, but for anybody that's like a long-term holder, I mean, in theory, we're going back, we're just chilling where we've been over the last several months here. It feels like since February. So I guess I don't know where you're talking about selling and buying back at, but that's up to you, of course, for whatever that may be. But that's generally not a great idea most of the time, right? So, but like I said, I don't know your situation with it.
Yeah, dude. The whole thing about buying and selling Bitcoin is that even though the Bitcoin price hasn't been behaving the way most people want it right now, right? Institutions have been buying up Bitcoin, right? I showed something the other day, I think it was on Saturday. Since the ETF launched, there's been like it was like 150,000 Bitcoin have been mined, right? And the 150,000 Bitcoin have been mined since January 10th. Since January 10th, 150,000 Bitcoin have been mined. 300,000 Bitcoin have been bought by the ETFs alone. That's not including MicroStrategy. That's not including El Salvador. That's not including Mr. 100. That's not including all the other millionaires and billionaires that we have out there in Dubai and all these other countries. That's not including these other countries, the ETFs from the UK. That's not including the ETFs from Canada. That's not including the ETFs in China right now in Hong Kong. That's not including Japan. Japan's been buying up a ton of Bitcoin. That's not including the individual banks that have been buying Bitcoin. And that's not including the individual retailers that have been buying Bitcoin. So more than double the supply that's been mined has been bought in the last 8 months alone. And that's just off straight ETFs. So even though the price right now isn't behaving the way we want it to, I personally would not like to sell my Bitcoin right now to try to catch it at a lower price in the short term. Maybe at a bull market peak, yes, at like a new all time high, but not right now. That's just me personally.
Yeah. Well, and it's always a tricky thing in the markets, right? Nobody knows where it's going to go. And even personally, like I put out a video recently, and we're going to take that. Somebody asked for WIF, so I definitely will take a look at WIF in a
It's
second
been
here.
whiffing, bro. It's been whiffing.
It's been whiffing, dude, and I got a really nice setup on WIF. And but for Bitcoin, everybody focuses on Bitcoin, even though I know the majority of people invested in crypto, at least. I don't want to say the majority, but there's a hefty, large amount that are like more interested in the altcoins, obviously, right? Like that's where everybody's looking for the better ROI, at least short term, stuff like that, right? So Bitcoin can seem boring to most people, but we all know that the gravity of Bitcoin is what drags the market up or down in most cases, right? So for me, once again, starting off last week when we came up to 60K, right? This was an area where, if anybody, I actually had a good amount of shorts in, more so on Ethereum, but some on Bitcoin from this, run up right here. I was actually targeting down to like 43K around August 6th through the 8th. We came down to 48 one day before that. And realistically, while we're below 67,000, we can't necessarily overlook the idea that we could go down to 43,000. And that's for a reason of just another video, really. But in general, there's once again one of those naked points of control, which is not like the end all be all, but we're within an old range at the moment. So unless we get out of 67K, it's just something that I'm like, it's on the back burner in my mind, right? So what does that mean? Well, for me, I can't be like going all in at these levels, just knowing that, potentially we could see still some more downside. However, at this moment, I lean more that this was most likely, the low at the moment, right? So, and then that we could, see this range rotated once again and coming back to these highs another time, in my opinion, especially with how much time we've spent up here, the way we've come down, we've taken these lows. And one of the biggest key points that I pointed out in that update video, right, is that overall, if you take a fib retracement on this $15,000 low all the way up to the high, while you got the gold pocket sitting down here like $35,000, one key area that you tend to get the best reaction from for continuation is the 0.382 fib. And what that is for anybody watching is that I just basically chopped up this, price action. And if you were to take this and say this was 0 and this was 100, or I'm sorry, take this and say this was 0 and then this was 100, as far as like a retracement would go. If we were to retrace this entire move 100%, it would go all the way back down to the low, right? So in theory, you've got 50%, 60%, 75%, so on. This is 38.2% of that. And this is an area where generally you can see on a strong trend, you get some continuation from. Is it guarantee? No, right? And there's never a guarantee. But when you start building your case, like you want to look for a few things. And this was one that really caught my eye, because even from this low down here, this was a 382 retrace. This was a 382 retrace and continued. Even this was a 382 retrace and then continued. And then now we've done a macro 382 retrace and gotten a sizable reaction from it. And like, for me, I'm not ignoring that. Can we go lower? There's always the fear of that. There's always the risk. But for me, it really does come down to right now with Bitcoin, the fact that we have gotten back into this range. All right. So we can see every time we've done this, we dipped out right here, got back in, we ran it. Dipped out here, got back in, we ran it. Dipped out pretty hard. And, I was paying really close attention to see if we were going to get back in. And we did. And in theory, I'm looking to see if we run this again. So even if we just run it up to 70K one more time, pay attention, see how things react up there, is the key. So as long as we're holding 60,300, that's kind of the bias from me, at least at the moment.
Dude, I still can't believe that last massive dip on August 5th, Bitcoin waited till I was out of the country, away from all my wallets, to be like, all right, dump it. And I was just seeing all these altcoins. Dude, Ondo was down at like 50 cents.
50
Arrow
cents,
was down at like 40 cents. all these massive new altcoins that I'm very bullish on had major dips, and I was just helpless.
Dude, literally, I thought the same thing for you, man. I was like, Crusader's that guy that when he gets in on a trade, sometimes I actually text him and say, hey, you should go long on this, because the second he does, the market makers come in and they knock him down, right? So
They're
I
looking for me,
knew
brother, hunting me.
when anybody asked me why was I targeting 43K Bitcoin even, or a drop in general, and really more so I was targeting $2,000 ETH 2100, right? And the time frame of that was August 6th to the 8th. And if anybody ever asked me why, it's because I knew Crusader was going on a cruise. So I knew straight up. I was like, dude, the market makers they're gonna nuke them. They're gonna nuke them.
They're gonna try to liquidate me, bro.
They were coming for you, bro. Yeah. So like Ondo was one, like, we were talking about it a few weeks back, and it was like, $1-ish, whatever. And I was saying that 69 cents, 70 cents was like where I was looking to buy it. That's actually where I did buy it. I didn't catch it at 50 cents. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm pretty much right where, I got the last entry on here.
That's a great entry, though. That's where I started buying. I bought Arrow at 50 cents. I started buying Ondo at 29 cents. But dude, that area, that value area low zone right there below the point of control for that massive range is a great buying opportunity. Personally, that's what I believe, right? This is not financial advice. I'm not telling anyone to buy anything. But Ondo at those prices, with their connections to BlackRock, with how much they're tokenizing real world assets through BlackRock's Buildo asset fund, it's major. I think Ondo is going to be a $5 to maybe $7 altcoin at the peak of the bull market. I have my price prediction out there on YouTube if anyone wants to see it. I think it's somewhere around that. I think it's somewhere around those prices. Just because of all the real world assets that they're doing. AVAX is also doing a lot of real world assets. Just last week, got two major announcements. Grayscale is getting a trust fund for AVAX, and Franklin Templeton, which is also an ETF for Bitcoin, another institution, they are starting to tokenize their money fund on AVAX. So AVAX is being chosen by a lot of these institutions for real world asset tokenization. So AVAX is bringing their A game as well. But what has WIF got going on right now, dude? A lot of people are calling this the Shiba of this bull run. What's going on with WIF right now?
Yeah. As far as that would go, it's so hard to know which one is, what is going to react. I mean, we have Bonk too. Like, I feel like that's probably almost the Shiba of this run. This one just, it's because it's a dog. I guess people will attest it to that. But yeah, without getting like too much into
a hat,
it is a dog with a hat. It's true. Yeah. So with same thing, right? Like, we're basically just trading within a large range. It's going to depend on how Bitcoin reacts right here. Once again, I'm really only looking for Bitcoin at the moment, and this is the thing, right? This can change at any point. I don't know which way the market's going to go. I can only start stacking, my confluences in the ways that are going to lean towards an edge for me, right? So for WIF, we're within an old range. We broke in. We had a key level here, right? So I actually the other day when we broke back into that range on Bitcoin at 60,000, which was like last week, the alts were pretty much all sitting at these range lows, right? So I put up a ton of updates. Arrow was another one that you just mentioned. Actually, it was like chilling right at the overall low. Trump was one that has actually. I don't know if we can pull that one up or not because our country, but anyway, so with within an old range, potentially we pull back here to like the low again of like 150. But overall, we've just kind of shot up. We hit this daily level to the nuts pretty much. And then right now we're just coming back. We're sitting on the point of control, right? So if Bitcoin pulls back that 1 or 2% down to that 60,300, you might get a little bit of more pullback. Maybe we come back down to the range low once again. But overall, I'm looking to, run this up back towards, 280, run the range itself. Ultimately, I got my eyes on 458, which once again, it's nowhere we haven't been before. Overall, just be, kind of back to the highs. And then at that point, I would just probably adjust and, look for some new price action to the upside, right? So I think that's price discovery if we get back up to that area. But even just that, I mean, that's a sizable move, like 165% back to basically the highs. I think we lost old Crusader. He must be crusading through those diapers. All right, let's take a look. Whoop. Mishka, what's going on, my friend? If anybody's got an altcoin you want to take a look at, feel free to drop it. As long as Bitcoin, someone says, as long as, oh, that's Mishka. As long as Bitcoin stays above 65K on the monthly, he's happy. Yeah, that'd be a nice, like I said, like as long as we're back within this range, we just, that just kind of is what it is, right? This is the daily time frame now. So just looking to see potentially, right, that little backflip, back to the little throwback, some would call it. But then ultimately I'm looking to run this, this area up to like 66, 69, potentially even higher than that. And that's the key area I'll be looking for, right? If we start to lose that, then that's where, things change. Right now, if anybody's like asking me like, oh, do I think, it's more likely we're heading, much lower from here at the moment? I got to say no, right? Like we're back in the range. We got some good support below us, normal little retracement, and we're not even, we're back to Friday's price pretty much to some degree here. So my sound is pretty low.
And I'm back. You sound pretty fine to me. I don't know why.
What's up, buddy? Low. Oh, it might be on TikTok. That's weird. Yeah, we'll have to get that straightened out later.
Somebody says they want to chart Pendle. Pendle's another one that we talked about earlier this year. You told me it had some massive. What was it that you saw? You said is it Pendle that you saw? Might have been Pendle. Pendle's a big DeFi play on Ethereum, and what I like about Pendle is if you like Ethereum and if you believe Ethereum is going to pump, you have to believe that DeFi at some point is going to pump on there as well, because people that are big ETH whales eventually take out loans against their Ethereum on these other platforms, like what Pendle's doing, Pendle's network, and they take out loans to be able to use DeFi to then be able to buy more allocations in other assets at the massive peak of the market. And if Ethereum runs, DeFi on Ethereum is going to run, and Pendle being one of the biggest one of the biggest DeFi players, I believe, in this bull market, has a lot of potential in my personal view. I wish I would have bought it at that dip down to below $1, below $2. I mean, that would have been a great buy.
Yeah, no, and that, that's one thing I do want to point out too, with like any, and we're experiencing a down day right now, so it's obviously a little bit more grounding, right? But one thing I always try to point out is even if the market was to take off from here, we always get a red day like this, right? Like, a small pullback in Bitcoin is like 10 to 15% altcoins sometimes. So like if you ever feel like you're missing, and even if you do miss a decent, a run to some degree, like there's always at least a better entry once you try to start allocating into something, or, and the other thing too is that there's 2.4 million altcoins at this point. If you're like, going heavy altcoins, or if that's where you really want it, there's so many opportunities. If you miss one, like there's just, if you miss one, you missed 100, right? Like we all missed Bitcoin at 6 cents. So, you get over that, right? So just kind of find something that's a little bit more of a better entry for yourself as far as risk would go, as it just a little chip off the old logic there. But yeah, so for Pendle, I had an old range pulled up on here. I don't think I've even updated this since we were back here. This was an old daily level that was untapped. That's basically where we obviously came down to. But yeah, as far as Pendle would go, this is a very new project. And, as far as, locally, I'm sure we'll probably see some pushes back up. We've got, let's see here, that's June. Let's pull it back to beginning of this year. Yeah, so we've got an old range, up in this region. Well, Parallel Channel's been drinking some breakfast beers.
And just in the meantime, guys, if anybody wants to learn how to chart like this, anybody is interested in learning how to trade, the man, the myth, the legend himself, CVO here, he has a trading Discord group where he has courses that he has videos recording showing how he uses the techniques that he used, the tools that he used, which are all free, by the way. They're all free on TradingView. He has all these videos in his Discord, along with exclusive analysis for all the members. That's how I was able to do some of my the trade from yesterday with some exclusive alpha from him. Right, it is literally $60 a month, which is $2 a day, guys. $2 a day to learn how to trade and get exclusive analysis. Every Monday, you get exclusive videos of the entire market analysis, along with different chart analysis for different altcoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, obviously Solana, and a lot of other altcoins as well. All in his Discord. If you guys are interested in joining that, there's a link down below in the YouTube video. There's a link down below in the Discord, in the TikTok chat. I'll probably drop it in there right now. Where is this link at? Where you at? Let me see. So make sure you're joining that if you want to learn how to trade or just learn how to chart more and get some exclusive alpha for sure on where the market could be going. Obviously, never financial advice, is only for educational purposes only.
Get that edgy.
And I forgot to mention 50% off. 50% off opportunity, right? There's a 50% off opportunity. If you type in the code Crusader on checkout, you get 50% off on the first month. So instead of $60 for that first month, it'd be $30, meaning you'll be paying $1 per day. $1 per day to be in the group for the first month.
It's the king shill right here, my man. All right, so for Pendle, assuming that this is, probably going to be our low for the time being, obviously looking for any type of a pullback would be, the spots, we want to look for these just locally, 382 retrace back down to like 290, which is 10% from where we are now. Probably a little bit in line with Bitcoin coming down a little bit more. Between this little region right here is where I'd probably be looking for, this to come down to and get a little reversal from. And as far as any upside right now on Pendle, and once again, without getting like too much into like where it could be in a year at the end of a run, like 100x or anything like that, just like locally, the next steps like level to level would be, I would look for this run back up here. There's a lot of confluence sitting up back at 625. So that's almost 100% move from where we are now. There's an untapped monthly level of resistance. We've got point of control from a previous range here. There's a trend-based gold pocket up here. So that would be, an area I'd look for sure that the price will, most likely come back to. And then if we start to break here, and get that new all-time high life, I'd be looking for 850 or 885, and then 13 would kind of be like the next major levels over time. And those are some pretty sizable moves if you get them. Like I said, these are a little bit more out there at the moment until we really start claiming some levels here. But this is where you can start, like, if you're building a position and in an altcoin that maybe that doesn't mean for the next 10 years, but maybe just for the next 6 to 10 months or whatever the case may be. There's a case that we could see this run up at least back to the $6 mark and then break the highs, and it's 8 and 13 is what I'd look for sure.
Let's get it. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Pendle. I think Pendle's gonna do great. I think I have a Pendle price prediction out there as well.
I think you did. And then, like, what is the market cap for Pendle? I mean, it's
small, dude. It's small.
That's what I thought. Because I do remember talking about it, like when I made that original one. I think we did talk about it together. Yeah, for some reason, back in like January.
Yeah, I think Pendle was the one that we were talking about. The market cap right now is 501 million. Yeah, okay. So it's $500 million right now.
Yeah, definitely a smaller.
Not a micro cap, but it's definitely I would say a small to mid cap.
Yeah. I got a question for you on Gala, right? So a couple of weeks back, we were talking about gaming, or even like right now, like what your opinion is on the gaming side of things. Because technically, I've been looking at Gala for a while. And this is like, once again, without getting like even back to all-time highs, without even looking for new all-time highs, this has been a position I've been building up around these lows for just like a 5 or 10x move. And that just takes us back to like 30 cents, right?
Yeah.
Which I think the all-time high was like 85. So what is your take on, like, as far as gaming would go right now, is, in the world of fundamentals? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on gaming. I'm not so bullish on Gala for the simple fact that they've had a lot of inflation on their token. They had a lot of drama between their two co-founders. They were like suing each other last year. I don't know.
Well, if you're bearish on Gala, then I know it's about to pump. So that's all I wanted to hear, baby. That's all I wanted to hear. Pump for me, baby.
Very possible. I hold a very small bag of Gala. And I was very bullish on it in the bear market before all this other stuff came out. So I definitely think that it could, come up with something big. Maybe it does have that pump to 30 cents. I definitely don't think it's going to break new all-time highs. That's definitely not going to happen just from inflation rate alone. It's not going to happen no matter how great their project is. New all-time highs is not going to happen in this bull market. But 30 cents potentially, maybe, who knows, right? A short-term bounce can definitely happen. We saw that bounce to 8 cents. A lot of people were not expecting that to happen. So we could definitely see some craziness because crypto gaming has not had a real highlight this bull market. We saw a little bit of it in November and December when the bull market started to kick off a little bit. We saw a lot of AVAX and some of the other crypto gaming tokens take off. Gala was not one of those because of all the drama that was happening. But I do believe that crypto gaming at some point will have its highlight again, like it had in the previous bull market, and definitely have a run up. But like we say, right, it's things are different from the last market because the last market did not have as many meme coins as they have now, and a lot of people are hyper focused on meme coins and just straight degenning on meme coins, getting in and out, and instead of buying things with utility like crypto gaming. And I know all the altcoins, the lower you go on the market cap, the higher the risk. But a lot of retail money is all into the meme coins. And honestly, I think that's a mistake. I understand that a very small percentage of people make money, and then everyone else thinks that they're going to be part of that exclusive club. But the reality is that you're most likely not. You're most likely, when you're hearing about one of these meme coins taking off, you're going to be used as exit liquidity. Very few meme coins you actually jump in and make life changing money. Like it's just one of those things. It's just not really as realistic as most people think it is.
Yeah, and by the time everybody starts jumping on meme coin, like meme coins specifically, are just the mic. Like years ago, we had KuCoin, right? And we didn't have like necessarily all these, like there's so many meme coins now, but like previously we just had just low cap gems is what like everybody kind of referred to them as, micro caps, whatever, which are pretty much what meme coins are, right? They get listed and they're at sub $10,000 or maybe $100,000, whatever the case may be. They're so low. And some people do, okay with it, but then you have all the liquidity issues. You can't even sell it at the current rate. You like if something goes up, 10x, and you're a larger holder of it, by the time you start selling, like the liquidity dries up, and you end up just selling it back to like maybe even break even sometimes, stuff like that, right? So, yeah, the meme, and what I'm brought that up for is more so because when the meme coins or the small caps and all those get popping to the point where everyone is finally like, oh, the large caps are done. Like I'm not making any money holding this. I'm gonna start buying meme coins. When people start moving to that, like weeks later, generally that's when like a very close top is near, and the smaller caps are usually the last to run. So I know everybody's kind of giving up on the larger caps right now. I actually personally, think that they have probably some good upside coming. Even things like XRP, I know everybody's kind of against that or giving up on it, whatever the case is. I'm not a huge XRP maxi by any means, but I've traded XRP for literally 7 years, basically going back and forth. And I am positioned pretty well for a move out of XRP here at some point. Litecoin is another one. Tron is, I'm not in Tron right now, but Tron is a good example of just, something that's kind of a dinosaur that's kind of popping out of nowhere. And a lot of times those will kind of, erupt once everybody kind of gives up on them. Same thing, everybody piles back into those once they're, kind of coming to a little short-term top. And then all of a sudden the next round starts popping, and then, everybody starts chasing. So, I just want to take a look at Gala for someone that asked, and at a very simple level, idea here, came back to a key low. Basically, I mean, we're pretty much almost at least on this Binance chart, the almost all-time lows. I'm sure that there's lower price action on another chart or wherever the case may be, but this is at the lows. I know that some would look at it and say, oh, they they don't trust it. That's fine, right? I'm just looking at something that is a potential for some sizable move to the upside. Let me try something real quick. Turn on my.
Damn, man, Bitcoin is dropping right below that value area high again. It's going in deep now.
Did you short it with the 100x, sir?
Oh, I wish.
But yeah, Gala, I'm over time, like anything but the altcoin things. By the way, for the most part, I bring up like I trade actively Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, right? Those three are Solana is my like third one right now. I kind of jump in and jump out of. For the short-term stuff, I have obviously longer-term positions in those as well. But anything else, Gala, any other altcoins, I'm not looking at for like the week or anything like that for the most part, unless we're looking for a pullback. But these are for like mid to long-term plays, right? So boring time right now. It's definitely down, pretty hard. I was aggressively selling, and trading it up in these regions right here when we were at $71,000 Bitcoin. And then I picked a lot of it back up. Didn't catch the exact low right here. I think I had a few buy orders down here, but once we actually kind of set in around this like 1.5 cent, it's kind of where I'm in at. Looking for, if we do get a little bit more lower, it is what it is. And then overall, I'm looking at that macro 382, and then we have a couple of high time frame averages, a few things in between. So I mean, there's all kinds of overhead, I think, potential for Gala. And then as far as a fundamental would go, I'm not 1,000% always on the fundamentals behind it. A lot of times we get a pop and there's like a random news catalyst that comes to where like nobody could have prepared for it. So for me, I've always been, found a lot of success in scooping things up at some, key levels and then just waiting. So you're already positioned. And then once the news comes, you're not chasing anything. You're just looking for targets and kind of move on from there. There was one more thing you just said. Oh, Bitcoin. I guess we can take a look at it.
Yeah, Bitcoin is dropping back down. So if yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It had a little bit of a bounce, came back into the value area low, into value area high, and now it's kind of just continuing its movement down into the zone. Can you bring the zone up so people can actually see it?
Yeah. Which this zone or which one?
The parallel channel of the previous week, so that they know where the value area high is.
Yeah, right there.
That orange line. So if we had to look for a trade today, right? If we had to look for a trade, if we had to take a trade on the show, we've been live for an hour, what would be the potential best trade? Not saying that we're gonna take it, we're going to assess the risk of this trade. But if all the charts that you've been looking at, what hasn't played out yet that you're still been looking for, or what is something else that you've seen that, whoa, this already kind of played out, but I'm seeing this now potentially as another potential move, and we can assess the risk of taking that trade like we did with this one.
I mean, squirt gun to my head. There's no great. I would have to say
no great trade.
There's no, I know. I'm looking across the board, but I would have to say probably something similar to what we did yesterday, right? So like this is like scalp level, right? Like we just came down, we swept this low.
My goal is just 10%. All I need is 10% for the day. So if I can make 10% on a leverage trade, what would I do?
Yeah. We might just have to wait, man, for this one.
I'm still thinking about this short. I'm still thinking potentially this short plays out. If we get a few 15-minute candles closing below the value area high here.
So that I was gonna say like that's kind of where we're at right now. Honestly, that might be the best play right now is to take that little value area low back test. I mean, if we go down to the 5-minute,
the VWAP is heading down like freaking Titanic, right? So if the VWAP even comes a little bit lower, we just kind of fiddle around down here.
Yeah, that'll be hours before that happens. But going on a smaller time frame now, I think that your short is probably the best option, right? So now we're on 5-minute time frame. You came in, even though we swept that low, is the only thing I would be, kind of like, because once again, this is not an amazing short, but if we're just gonna degen it out, I would say that's probably the entry is the short off the value area high down into the weekly NPOC.
How many candles would you wait for to see a closure below the value area high to feel somewhat more comfortable than what we're at right now? Whether you are using 5 minutes, are you using 15-minute? Obviously these are not optimal trades right now. If
this 5-minute one closed there, I would just say, roll the dice.
Come on, baby. All right, so we got 1 minute. We got 58 seconds for this green candle to close below this value area high. We'll see if we can get a closure here. Let me start setting up my phone, getting ready so I can enter this trade if it happens.
What are you going to do? 100x?
No. 30x. 30x. All I need is 10%, bro. All I need is 10%.
You know what? I'm going to join you. And this is just for fun, everybody. This is a terrible trade. You should not be doing this at home. But we're going to do a degen play and lose all our money right here in front of you. So I'm going to go.
Are you getting it right now, or are you going to wait for it to close and see what happens?
Dude, I'm going right now. We're at the high. Let's run it.
Oh, here we go. So getting into that short.
30.
All right, I'm in. I'm up 1 penny. Oh, I'm down 28 cents. All right, let me set my take profit and stop loss.
I already put it at 90x on accident.
Oh, geez.
All right. We'll come back. We'll see if that one plays. But yeah, like I said, I mean, you are entering the old range here. It's not an ideal area to enter a short by any means, anybody. We're just having some fun right now to see if we get it right here. So this is just some beer money. We're just pissing away. But yeah, ultimately coming up higher would be what you'd want to look for. And
oh, it looks like it's going up higher right now. You talked about it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm coming up."
That's it. It knows you entered. I actually entered a long.
You actually went long.
Yeah,
went short.
I counter trade you, dude. I'm telling you, like it's actually really beneficial at times. So, and then when I don't want you to come in at all, I just don't tell you when a trade goes down. You know, we're fighting, baby.
Smart.
You get. Oh, what's that?
That's when you're live for longer than an hour on TikTok. To make sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, did you do the TikTok live too?
Yeah. I'm live on TikTok too.
All right. Let's see if we get it here. Come on, baby. We got short that thing. Nuke it, baby.
It looks like it's gonna get rejected right here at the value area high.
Nuke it, baby.
Let's go, baby. Come on. Come on. Dump for me, baby. Dump for me. Dump for me, baby. Oh man. Mark Dutch says, "Did you short Donald?" No, but I wish I did. Let me tell you, because I freaking lost. I'm down like $5,000 on Donald, bro.
I've never looked at Donald. Should I look at Donald and something else? What was the other one? Telegram, right?
Yeah, Ton is the coin for Telegram, and then Donald is the Trump meme coin on Ton. You know, and I Keeper's part of that team, and a few other people that I know part of that team, and they told me to get in, and I did. And it's not working out, let me tell you. Not blaming anybody, but obviously the market took a downturn. Obviously, all the drama with Ton has happened since the Telegram CEO got arrested, and Donald is freaking down in the dumps. I don't know if it's going to come back. Anything's possible, but yeah, I'm literally down $5,000 on that thing.
Dang.
So
5 G's.
Mm-hmm.
My
that's right.
got some busted up phone holder. Yeah, let's take a look at those two then real quick. Donald.
I don't even know if it even has a chart that you can look at.
Is it like on the DEX screener thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Ton is
Ton you can look at. Ton for sure.
Telegram, right?
Yeah.
Come on, bro. They're gonna liquidate us now because they know you.
They're hunting my stop, bro. Where'd you put your stop at?
I put it. Well, I took a long, right? Because I knew you were entering. So.
Set it up.
All right. Well, let's take a look at Ton. Regular Ton. Telegram. Because this was actually something we were talking about. You were saying there was some news over the weekend. Yeah.
So basically, the CEO of Telegram got arrested in Paris on Saturday. And since that's broken out, Ton on Saturday itself dumped like 12%. Has been dumping like 12% per day. Then we had I believe yesterday, Monday, we had one of the liquidity whales pull like almost $2 million worth of liquidity off of Ton, which is not a good sign. You don't want to see that. So that's caused more downturn. So yeah, Ton. What price is it at right now? 540.
Yes, 548.
Okay, it's had a little bit of a bounce because it was down at like basically almost $5 flat yesterday. Okay. But what are some key points for some key targets for overall macro level stuff for this coin? It hasn't been around too long.
Yeah. Let's take a sneak
Yeah,
peek.
also depends on the exchange. Some exchanges might have it because Ton's been around since the last bull market.
Has it?
Yeah. Ton has.
Oh yeah,
Ton
yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. It got launched like
since like 2021, 2022, around there.
2021, really? Oh, the Telegram. Yeah. I do
Yeah, the
remember that
Telegram
actually.
coin. Yeah, Ton.
Now that I'm just trying to think about like when it got listed, which like, yeah, I think I was still using Telegram, or I just had like got off of it. Ton for anybody just checking in. Telegram. All right, let's just look at some simple stuff. So, like if I was looking at this last week, what would I have been looking for? Let's just see what we've come into. Okay.
Let's go, baby. I'm up $5.
Are you?
$2 right now. Oh no, I'm down.
Oh man,
I'm down $1. Damn it.
We should do battle trades where we both go against each other. Just one goes long, one goes short. We just take it down. All right.
I mean, it looks like it wants to drop because it got that little like
I mean, it definitely wants to drop
at the top here. Now we're getting another 5-minute candle looking red. So hopefully this thing just. Telling you, I'm up 10% or more, and I'm out. That's all I need. 10% per day.
That's all you need, buddy. That is all you need.
It's all about that compound interest, bro. You get 10% today, then 10% today, 10% on $1,000 today is 100. 10% tomorrow is 110, and it keeps snowballing, and next thing you know, you'll be a multimillionaire like Gareth.
What about when you get liquidated?
Then you just file for bankruptcy.
Nice. All right. Just some quick draw here, right? Pretty decent little like 6-month range here that we kind of broke back. Kind of like teabagging over the week, like going into last week. I'm just going to take this gold pocket off for now. There was a untapped daily, which honestly is kind of the only as far as major horizontal would go for like a while until you get substantially lower. Actually, there was a monthly right there. But yeah, that monthly in that daily region.
I'm $20 in that short. They don't want to interrupt, but I had to say it. Up $20, baby. Let's go. Just 8 more percent.
Let's check it out. You're up 20. What did we really do? You did 30x?
Yeah, man. I got to get back to my $1,000 break even.
All right, cool.
Up 35 now, baby. We're dumping, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Keep going, baby. Keep going.
Get to the top. We're on top of it right now. Just blow over the top.
Come on.
Just hammer that thing down, bro.
Come on. You can do it. On the 5-minute, it looks really good because that last 5-minute candle is like a squished little doji candle hitting right at the value area high.
Dude, imagine on the 30-second candle, man. That
30-second looks even better.
That's where babies are made, man. Right on the 30-second. That is where babies are made. Come on,
my take profit is all the way down at the weekly naked point of control. But honestly, I only put that there in case we got like a quick, massive dump or something. I would definitely, I will probably jump out of this short earlier. I just need that 10%, baby. Come on.
Yeah. 30x, 100x. Yeah. Steve-O is correct. We're just messing around with, I know that that's just like always the go-to saying where, as far as leverage goes, right? Like leverage really is irrelevant if you're managing the risk accordingly. And this is one thing I was talking to you about yesterday, right? So like generally when you see me with a 20x leverage is kind of like my go-to on Bitcoin or ETH. Very rarely an altcoin, but another altcoin, I guess, besides ETH. But how I manage that is this, right? Because on the exchanges we trade, the point of leverage for anybody like viewing, right? Everybody uses it incorrectly because most people are going to do this, right? They're going to come in with a small amount of money, $500, $1,000, and they're going to put it all on one thing, 10x, and view that as $1,000 and not $10,000, right? And what they're going to do is they're going to look to basically double their money, double their $1,000, right? They're looking for 100% move, all that stuff. And realistically, that's not the way you should look at it. In theory, leverage is a tool that allows you to have less capital exposed to an exchange. One of two things is a benefit of that is that one, a lot of the exchanges we use in crypto are not necessarily, not even necessarily, a lot of them are not, safe at the end of the day. I mean, we really don't have any control over them. We don't even information into it. Oh, I was wondering where I went.
Yeah, but connection issues there for a second.
All good, man.
The thing about the exchanges not being safe, yeah, dude, no exchange is ever safe.
Yeah, and unless you and once again, we don't even put our name on it, right? So any FTX actually was something that people thought was safe, but at any point, any of those can kind of go down. So like for one thing is to look at it like for me, I'm using Bybit. What am I using right now for this random trade?
Bluefin?
We're using Bluefin right now. Yep. But I'm working on a new exchange as well. And, at the end of the day, they could go tits up and then, that money's gone. So whatever I put on there, I have to be willing to completely lose. So instead of me trading with 40, 50K, which, is something that, I actually do look to trade at least Bitcoin and Ethereum with on a day trade most of the time when I'm looking just for like a 1%, 2%, even a swing trade at times. Generally, that's kind of like my trade account is like 40,000, right? It's what I tend to put in. So instead of putting 40,000 on an exchange that I can't necessarily control, can't trust, I can't see, I can't touch, I can't really even talk to anybody that works there, right? I put $2,000 on there. I traded at 20x leverage. So now, yes, I'm technically trading $40,000. I have a 1%, whatever the stop loss may be. Generally, I give it, it depends on the context of where I enter, but a lot of times it'll be like a 1.5%, give or take. So that puts me at like $500 for a stop loss that I'm willing to trade. And usually I'm targeting 3 to 5% at high side. And then obviously I have to manage that if things change, but I'm looking to make 3 to 5% of $40,000. I'm not looking to make 60 to 100% of my $2,000, right? And that's how you have to think like, because a lot of people will get in and they just, once again, they'll just throw that whole 2K, which is, to me, that's a small piece. That's not my overall like funding amount. And then, but most people will come in with that idea, like I'm going to come in, put every dollar I got, or, I need this $1,000. This is my rent money. I'm going to 20x it. I'm going to put it all on Bitcoin because we're
recipe for disaster.
70K. Yeah, and it's just like it never works that way. That's not a strategy, and that's not risk management at all. So I definitely agree with Steve-O. We're just having fun, obviously, on here. And generally, when people say like, "Oh, 100x," whatever, is just because most people do it totally.
Hey, bro,
correct.
I'm up $50. I'm up $50 on my trade. Let's go. I'm up 5 and something percent. Oh, okay, it's coming down now a little bit, but all I need is that 10%, baby. Almost halfway there. Almost halfway
Nice.
there. Come on. But yeah, dude, risk management, it's all about risk management. Everything, whether you're trading, you're a long-term holder, whatever it is, it's all risk management. Dollar cost averaging, anything in investing at all, trading or just long-term investment. If you're not what's the word? Not accessing. If you're not assessing your risk on your portfolio, on how much capital you have coming in, do you have a bankroll where you have a job that you're consistently, maybe saving $1,000 a month that you're willing to invest, or if you only have $1,000 total completely to trade with, how are you managing that $1,000 knowing that you do not have a single more dollar to go? If you lose, you lose, right? And the market always has more time to keep running. So it's all about risk management, everything from dollar cost averaging positions to trading. If you're not managing your risk, you're setting yourself up for disaster.
Yes, sir. Dude, we're up 7% right now.
Are we? Let's see.
All right. Well, I'm like, it's like fluctuating like 6 and 7%, but yeah. So definitely, man. So I turned off my questions. Does anybody else have another chart or something that they want to take a look at while we're kind of waiting?
I have some questions here. Somebody says a lot of altcoins will not survive, especially if they go lower than the bottom. Let me see here. Now,
so I do want to touch on that too. It's right, like that the altcoins, right? Like, so you and I both have been in this market since we're at 8% now. At least I am
8%, baby. Let's go.
The 2017, right, was the wildest, and everybody's always talking on like, the most craziest bull run, blah blah blah. The most craziest bull runs have already happened. That's for
2013, bro, when Bitcoin was like $1.
Yeah, I mean, well, you got like,
economically.
yeah, there's been so many better runs than I think anybody coming in today is ever going to see, but there will be some some really great movers. But what I'm getting at there is that 2017, by the end of it, and that's when like now we've got all these meme coins getting Crusader and I could drop a meme coin in the time it takes us to finish this video. And there's just millions of them getting unleashed at any moment here. But back in the day, 2017, ICOs, which were the OG NFTs, OG meme coins, the OG just gambling stuff, and they could only be listed on Ethereum, right? And at the time, you also, by the end of 2017, you only had what was it, 2,000 tokens out, yeah, on the market. 800 billion market cap, 9%, right? We're up to right now. 800 billion market cap for total, which over half of that was a $20,000 Bitcoin, and you had $1,400 ETH, and then the rest was split up. So you're talking about 75% of the market is almost always eaten up by Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then however many altcoins there are have to share that remaining money essentially. And I know that there's like some other caveats to that, but just at a high level, that's the idea. So 2017 there was 2,000 tokens total. And then in 2021, by the end, we had 20,000 tokens, right? By like December 2021. Today, if you go to CoinMarketCap, there's over almost 2.5 million tokens listed on there, right? Because of all the meme coins and the several versions of each meme coin and everything like that. Obviously, the memes don't get a ton of liquidity in comparison, but because there's so many of them, if you were to pull all the money from it, I'm sure that is making up for a big piece at the moment. But there's just so many, right? And to kind of touch on that idea with somebody that the altcoins will not probably survive. Obviously, none of us know that, but that is probably a really big take that most people don't understand, right? At some point, I do agree that we're probably going to see a .com type situation where we are left with the top 10 alts, or maybe even top 100 even. Whatever the case is, we start dwindling away. One bear market will come, and really it's probably going to be regulation. I think that's really what's going to come down, and like will be the wipe, right? When we finally literally cannot use all these exchanges and all these things, and at least in the US, is an idea, a version behind that. I don't know. Yeah, the alts are very risky in that sense to like be considering like holding for like 10 and 20 years, right? Some of them, it's like, do you want to look at even some of these new ones, right? Ondo and Arrow, like, yes, they're getting backed right now by some of these big pieces, but they're so new, you don't really know.
Yeah, dude,
their history.
I'm selling everything. The only altcoin that I'm willing to hold is Ethereum. Bitcoin for sure, no problem holding that long term. Ethereum, I'll hold that long term. I'll still sell some, but I'll hold some of it. Everything else is going out. Ow, you bit me, little bastard. Everything else is going out the window. You hear her laughing.
Yeah,
she bites me.
I do, yeah. You know what? One that is always, and I know people probably will laugh at this one, but it's Litecoin, right? It blows my mind because
that's the OG, bro.
It really is, and it's crazy because it has always been. What's the word? It's kind of like it's always been the bridesmaid, but never the bride, right? So it's like
that's like great.
It's always around, dude. Like when you turn on the news, it's shifted a little bit now because you got ETFs and you got Solana and you got like other things that are kind of making some headlines. But for the longest time, if you ever saw crypto listed on any type of format, you would see over at 9.5%, dude. Almost, damn it. You would see Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, like no matter what. Just be like the 1/3 one there. Even when I first entered this market, Coinbase, the only things that you could access were Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. So it's just funny to see that one. It's kind of always been there. It's like kind of like Tron has been recently, where everybody's like kind of now realizing like Tron's been sitting in a top 10 spot for like 7 years, and it comes and goes and all, but like I'm just wondering what day or what
Base loves using Tron. Base loves using Tron because it's the cheapest network to send stable coins over. It's just not user friendly. Like there's not a lot being built on it, but apparently there's like a meme coin frenzy being built on Tron now. I don't know. I haven't seen it
Perfect.
or anything.
The perfect utility.
That's the utility of 2024, bro. Meme coins. If you can build meme coins on it, people will go.
Build the meme coins, people will come. All right. Let's see here.
Trading back around a little bit, but I still have hope.
Should have closed it at 9%, dude.
I didn't even see it at 9%. I didn't even get to see it.
We're getting greedy.
I didn't even get to see it at 9%.
Is this what happens when you're trying to trade? The kids come in and distract
Yeah,
you.
exactly. This is my life, bro. Trying to trade or make content.
Right at the take profit mark.
Right there is when they show up, they start screaming, they start biting me, whatever, and then it's like, oh snap, I missed my trade, I missed my entry. Like, this is my life, bro, and this is just one. This is just the one.
I like it. So somebody's just tuning in on my side, just asked like for a Bitcoin update once again. So I'm just gonna kind of briefly just run through this while we're kind of taking a peek at what we're looking at. Somebody also asked if the bull run was over. So for me, you know, I was somebody who was targeting potentially $43,000 since March, right? So since 71,200, with a couple of factors. If you flip through some of my last videos on here, any content from this year, you'll see why it has a lot to do with Ethereum and a pattern that had took place, whatever. But as far as right now, this is just I'm looking at a smaller time frame right now, and this is a smaller range that, you know, for just this week is kind of a relevant area to be looking towards. For me, every single week, every single day, I put updates in the Leading Crypto Discord server where I'm looking for the most ideal moves for those shorter time frames, and then at the same time, I'm looking for, you know, key areas for the altcoins for mid to long term positions. Right. Started off this week in Bitcoin with this box area as a target. All right. And that's really all it is at the moment. It's just a target. Doesn't necessarily mean this is where we have to turn around or anything like that. But, you know, while we were trading up at, you know, 65K, this is the area I was looking for, back to 60,000. The reason why was a couple of things. There's a bit of confluence stacked here with a high volume target, which is this weekly naked point of control, which once again, cover all these terms and everything like that in the Discord if you're interested in joining. There's a level of support here on a daily time frame as well. And then if we turn all this off, just without even getting into the nitty gritty, just as simple as it can get, high time frame, right? We know the range, the area we've been trading in, right? Pretty much this 60 to 70K, basically since February. And if you just pull a range over this entire area, which is just the overall range right now, right? Without getting into all the smaller moves, we've broken back into this region, just like we did over here, just like we did over here, right? We dumped back out. We had a potential, right? If we couldn't get back in here, you know, we had a real potential to continue on down, but we changed last week, right? And this is one of the biggest things about technical analysis is you have to have some areas or some potential, like I said, for myself, you know, I've been targeting lower, we got lower, you know, didn't get exactly where I wanted here. However, we did hit the exact target on Ethereum. So for that reason alone, I had to kind of compare and contrast a little bit. 2 weeks had gotten by, right? So I couldn't just blindly hold the bias that we were going to go lower. And then once we broke into this range on a day, this is the daily time frame on a daily basis. This is right at 60,300. This is that box that I was just highlighting, right? When we zoomed in. So it's 60,000, give or take, to 61K, right? That same overall area. We essentially have broken back in. We're potentially coming back for a little back to just like any other type of support and resistance flip or a pattern, right? You break in or you break out and you get the back test of support or resistance, and you get the continuation. So that's what we're looking for now, right? We're looking for a potential move back down to that 60,300 and then the continuation on up. Realistically, at the moment, you know, we've got a nice little change in structure, so to speak, up until, of course, we get up here. But we've got, you know, our low, we've got our high, we've got a higher low, we've got a higher high. We could very well just be coming down, putting in our higher low, and then we're looking to see if we run this back up, right? So that's the overall look. And personally, if we run range one more time, that high time frame, right? I would anticipate this to actually break to the upside, right? And then continue on and up to the new all-time highs and all the good stuff. So
we're
that's what
dumping, baby. We're dumping up $122 right now. Let's freaking go. 15%, bro. I'm about to jump out. I'm about to jump out.
Oh, dude, I'm
You're gonna ride it? You're gonna ride it all the way?
I'm riding it, dude.
You're riding it, bro. All right, let's go. See, this
I mean, you don't have to, like.
This is the thing, right? This is the thing about being in part of the leading Discord, right? No matter, I've been practicing my TA since September of last year, right? I've been learning everything I know from this guy right here. And it always feels so good to be in there and just to get a second opinion on my TA, seeing my chart versus his chart. Okay, maybe I missed something, right? Drop a quick question in there. It feels very comfortable to be in a community where everyone's helping each other out. And you always got, CVO in there helping out, dropping alpha as much as he can with what's going on in the charts and being able to keep up, right? It's not I'm gonna jump in there and he's gonna tell me when to buy, when to sell. It doesn't work that way. You have to practice the TA yourself too, right? You need to learn the terminology, you need to learn what's happening to see what's going on. So I appreciate being in there. It gives me like calm of mind to be able to get in there whenever I have doubts. I can ask questions and always compare my charts to CVO's charts, and it just makes me feel good. Dude, up 18%, $150. I think I'm gonna jump out, bro.
I would show, yeah. Just let's close it. Just for good risk management.
Limit
right?
out or just mark it out?
You can limit out. I mean, we're probably gonna keep dropping here. So
let me see here.
So, and the reason behind that, right, for anybody watching, I just want to kind of go over a little bit more risk, right? So, we got into this short live on stream just because we wanted to be able to kind of facilitate a trade just kind of live, right? I had a couple planned, and this is the thing, right? I had a couple areas planned for when we started the stream, what I'd be looking for, and we just didn't get it. And that's really a big key point too, right? You don't always got to be in a trade for one. And two, if you do jump into something at a non-ideal area, you got to, be aggressive on taking profits, right? So for Crusader jumping out right now, $150, like a win, even though we anticipated to go lower, that is the key, because we jumped in literally what? Let's see where we pulled up.
Dude, a couple of minutes ago. We've been in here for like 20 minutes.
And we entered right here, of all this drop. So if we were to turn around and even just come back up to the VWAP and certain key levels, like, we run a risk of getting, stopped out. And it's not an ideal entry, but it was a good of the moment being, right? We did that live with you guys. We went through literally the emotions of it. And I said, what was the best trade at the moment? And it was that one, right? So
let's go. I got out. Yeah. I jumped out $159 after fees. Let's go 19%, almost double my goal, my daily goal, right? My daily trading challenge. You guys haven't seen my post on Twitter. Is 10% a day, so I can compound my interest, right? Compound my winnings over time, and just need to make 10%. And guess what? I made 19% today. Not on the most optimal trade, but just on the fact that we walked through it. We managed the risk. We knew what was going on, right? If I lose, I lose. It's okay. And this is the benefits of being in the leading crypto Discord, is going through this analysis, right? Not just on these short-term trades, obviously a lot longer swing trades and larger time frames. This is just like something we're doing on the show, which is one of the benefits of watching this show, is watching people manage the risk live. Okay, this is not the most optimal. This is not the best time. We're not trying to force the trade. We're trying to find the best trade possible, even though it's not the best conditions possible. And just know that, hey, there's a big potential we can lose money here, but let's also not be greedy, right? I could have waited for the weekly naked point of control down at 60,800. That's the big target. But guess what? We're pumping back up right now. We're having a nice little 3-minute candle back up to 61,633. I wasn't greedy. I got more than my 10% that I wanted. I jumped out. I'm good. I'm good for the day. I made my $150. I'm done. That's all I needed. Right? I don't need to be making 50%, 100%, 1,000% wins every single day. That's how you get wrecked. And trust me, it's happened to me a lot. Back in November, I had multiple trades in 1 week where I was up $800, $900. And because it wasn't that 100% or the 150% trade that I can post on Twitter to get all the clout from, I didn't take it. And guess what? I came all the way back, hit my stop loss, and I lost my money. It happened to me like literally 3 times in 1 week. That's when Bitcoin was ripping. So I've learned my lesson the hard way, not to be greedy. Take money, and like you always say, what's the thing you say about going to work? Let the people know about going to work.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I always look at it like this, man. Like like you just did, right? So as far as trading goes, like crypto is very different than the stocks. I guess if you're an options trader, you get the futures and all that. But the market never stops, right? So it's always going. It's 24/7. But you can, I did like the New York session is what we're trading right now. and if you want to come in and look at like this as a business almost, or like if you had to go to work, and like how Crusader just said, a lot of people will come in and they'll aim to they'll aim for a percentage number or exact dollar number that they need to make. Like today, I have a $500 goal, and I'm not gonna, I'm gonna try to get that, right. And you could be up like 385, right. And instead of taking that and just considering it like if you were anybody, like, right, I always refer to like a bartender, right. When you were bartending back in the day, or if if you're younger, or even if you're doing it now, like, you would go into a shift, and yeah, everybody's got that ideal goal on what you want to make, but you just, you come out each day with a little bit of a fluctuation, right? Like maybe today you make 200, maybe today you make 60, maybe today you make 180. Like as long as you're not losing money, that's the key. And then if you take, your day and kind of like reflect on it, like, like Crusader and I right now, I took this trade as a brand new trader, most people would look at that and just be like, oh, you almost got lucky, or like, you feel like, oh, it was dumping, I just jumped in, like, and there was no real like thought process behind it. But like, if you actually take a step back and you say, all right, I jumped in at this point today, wasn't a super likely trade, but I had, the risk accordingly. I was willing to get stopped out. I knew where I was going to be wrong, where I'd look for to re-enter if it was going to go higher. But at the same time, I took profits on the way down. What could I have done differently? Could I have scaled out? Could I have moved the stop loss up? And like all those things, you just kind of like build up your strategy along that side. But, the big thing about that is, yeah, like I look at it like, you go to work, and especially in the short trades, like if you're maneuvering any kind of short-term trade, and that's like, especially anything with leverage, the longer you are in a trade, the longer you are at risk of losing. Like if you hold the trade for 2 days and you're up, like a day and a half, and you're so excited, like say we were waiting on this, weekly naked point of control, and you'd entered, whatever, like let's just zoom it back. Let's just say somebody that entered right here, right? You had this wick high, and you got this, this low right here, and you're super pumped, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna get in right here. I got my stop loss above these highs right here, and you get a little bit of a dip right there, and then you were up. Let's just say you were up 1%, not the best, but depending on what it was. This is over, the course of a weekend at that and all that, and you're up for a whole day, and you had those profits there. Well, now they start to come back on you. Now you're sweating. Now you're, probably break even. Now you're even in the red, and then now you get stopped out, right? Like because you left it open too long, right? So these short-term trades have to be treated, really, really, strategically, aggressively, and to a point where, like, especially if you're not in determining what's an ideal entry is probably half the battle, right? So, but yeah,
100%. Ideal entries are all about it, and it's just taking profits. People think it's so easy. Like, oh, if I was up $500, I'll take it. But you don't know until you're there. Once you're there, and you see that $500, you're like, yo, it's gonna drop lower, or it's gonna pump higher. It's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep going, and it doesn't. And that's when the house of cards comes crashing down, and they're gonna get you, right? So I'm in the mindset. I'm not at the swing trading mindset yet. Like I don't feel that confident yet to be there in the market for multiple days with a trade open. I like getting in and getting out. That's why I'm doing the 10% thing, right? Sometimes I lose. I don't always win. Last week I took a big loss of $275, right? It was my stop loss. It was the risk that I took, and it went against me. And guess what? I took a winning trade at the beginning of the week. I took that big loss at the second trade of the week, and I stopped trading for the rest of the week. The next 2-3 days, I was really hesitant on my entries. My TA was correct. It worked out, but I just didn't have the confidence because I had just walked off a big loss. And guess what? It's okay that I didn't take the trades, because there's always gonna be another trade some other moment. I could have jumped in and just forced the trade, or just try to revenge trade to make my money back, and lost more money. And one thing I've learned from you and Magic is you can only control how much money you can lose. You can't control how much money you make. And after walking off that loss, I was like, bro, until I don't feel better, I'll wait till next week, refresh, and then I'll start trading again. And so far, I've got 2 wins this week, all thanks to the man, the myth, the legend himself, CVO, in the leading Discord, dropping the alpha every single day. So if you want to join, make sure you join. The link is down below in the chat on either one, leading Discord. It's in my link tree as well. You can get 50% off on the first month if you use Crusader on checkout, and in the little what you call it, the little promo code Crusader. You get 50% off on the first month. $30 a month. It's $1 per day trading, and then it becomes $2 per day to trade. And I just made $150 literally in 20 minutes. That more than pays 2 months worth of being in the trading group. So
we got Mishka just joined and said, "Join the Discord, Crusader Schiller."
Let's go.
The King Shill.
That's right, baby. That's right.
All right. Cool. Good stuff, man.
All right, bro. I think I'm going to jump off for today.
Yep.
The little ones drive me insane.
No, you're good, man. So, yeah. And for anybody out there watching, we'll be back tomorrow, give or take around 10 a.m.
10 a.m. I mean, not 10 p.m. 10
10 p.m. We're doing 12-hour sprints. Maybe we should do it at 10 p.m. when the kids are asleep.
That'd be great. I wish.
Dude, I just realized you did this whole stream in a robe.
Always, dude. Always. The morning streams have to be in a robe. That's just the way it is.
That's the life of content creators and traders and investors, man. We get to wear whatever we want.
That's right. No
but, here. That's it, man. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you, Crusader. Always a pleasure, my man. And
thank you.
We'll crusade through these markets again tomorrow.
Always. Again, tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be trading live and charting once again. Like always, I'm Blockchain Crusader, crusading through these blockchains every single day. And CVO leading crypto. That's where it's at, baby. See ya.